could border states, for instance, like Texas, have a Texas policy instead of having to go with what is happening out of Washington? And also, what I'd really like to know is if our border states like Texas can fill in those places where they had to get the trucks through and build our own wall and clean that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember, Arizona tried to do just that. Now, there's been a shift to the Supreme Court. You'd have to really analyze whether there's been enough of a shift to the Supreme Court to bring another challenge. So put in laws like you're talking about, Cindy, that will be challenged, that you would then go all the way to the Supreme Court. Under the existing Supreme Court precedent, there's basically no power in the states. They couldn't even authorize their police to work alongside ICE and DHS. So Arizona with the driver's license, with all those different things they tried to do, Cindy, the Supreme Court said no because of the Constitution. This falls squarely under the role of Congress and the federal government. It is their responsibility. Now, remember that. You can't blame your state officials here. They will try and do everything they can, file lawsuits, may even do some of the things you're talking about at the risk of being sued. But at the end of the day, it is the federal government's responsibility. Yep. Joe Biden, the buck stops with Joe Biden.
So I was going to go to Harry first on this, and you look at it from it's very frustrating for the state of Texas. I know that in just speaking with officials over the years, because the Supreme Court has said, as Jordan pointed out, basically this is a federal issue and states have no authority here.
That's precisely correct. So at the end of the day, border states bear a disproportionate burden with respect to the illegal immigration and the illegal policy objectives of the Biden administration. Now, there may be a possibility for states to sue the federal government, to bring a lawsuit, because from an economic standpoint, you could argue that there are some externalities that are associated with the Biden administration's policy. Meaning, for instance, that the state of Texas, as the caller mentioned, now has to deal with 3,000 boys, let's say in Dallas, who don't have jobs, who, for instance, are committing crime or engaged in other illegal activities. That could be attributed to a federal policy. But the hope is that there will be a bipartisan effort to slow or to reverse the Biden policy, because many of the Democrats in Congress, they recognize that their constituents are bearing a disproportionate burden, and that is certainly true in Texas.
But there is a complete refusal to acknowledge that there's a crisis on the border. Now, there was a slip-up. I want to play this.
Yeah.
Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, was asked about some of this, and then I'm going to play both. Let's start with 25.
The vaccine was given, were there expectations set with the Mexicans that they help deal with the situation on the border?
There have been expectations set outside of unrelated to any vaccine doses or requests for them, that they would be partners in dealing with the crisis on the border.
Okay, crisis on the border. Then moments later, listen to this.
When you were talking a moment ago about diplomatic negotiations between the United States and Mexico, you said crisis on the border. Was that a
challenges on the border?
Okay, but so that doesn't reflect any change in the administration's view of things.
Nope.
When you refuse to identify the problem, you are incapable of solving it.